Yo, what up YouTubers? Y'all know what that is. That's the caliper and the rotor for a Mazda 2006 MPV. Well, no, I'm sorry, a 2001 MPV. What we're going to be doing is changing those out today. First thing you need to do, obviously, is take the tire off, as you see there. And then, let's see if we can get in here. To change both, you're going to need to remove this nut and this nut to get the caliper off. And then inside here, you'll see that and that for the guide. You're going to take all those off, and we're going to cut so you don't have to watch me work on those. They will be a little hard to get off, so you're going to need a breaker bar, a hammer, some PB blaster to bust it loose, and then we'll take it from there. Alright, if you need help, get your dad to sit there on a distance in the shade and watch. It makes things all the better. When you get these, you shoot some blaster on there, get it all loose. You're gonna take your breaker bar and you're gonna hit on it with your hammer like this, very lightly, until it breaks. Once it breaks, then you get your regular ratchet and remove those two bolts there to get your caliper off. Cut. Get these loose, you're gonna take them out like this, set them down. You're gonna take your caliper off. You're going to take out your brake pads, and what you need to do is compress the caliper. So what I like to do is use one of the brake pads, put that on there like that, and I get a C-clamp and I loosen it up like this, and I do both sides like this. A key note, it's a lot easier to do this if you take the lid off your brake fluid reservoir, because then as you press these in, the fluid's going back up the tube and it raises the level inside the thing. And once you get both of these done, then I'll show you how to get this rotor off. So do both sides, get it flat, and I'll go to the next step. Caliper off, we got it compressed. What I've used is a little bungee cord here to hold it up out of my way. Now we need to get the brake guide off to get this rotor off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this bolt here and this bolt here off. This is a 19 millimeter. The caliper was a 17 millimeter. Once again, you're going to get your breaker bar. You're going to tap on it till it gets off, and then you're going to take this off. Brake guide off. Now we took that off of there. We're going to take this rotor off and we're going to replace it with the new rotor. Then we're going to put the brake guide back on. You can replace this if you want, but it's not necessary. As long as these clips are good on this, it will hold the brakes in and the guide will work properly. If any of these clips break, I think you can get those separately. You might have to go to the dealership to get those. If they do break out, what's going to happen is they'll rattle and it'll make an awful noise. You don't really want that to happen. So we're going to do that. We're going to put this back on, and then I'm going to show you how to put the brakes on. Now we got that back on. What I like to do is, just to give it a little extra security here, I take my breaker bar and I give it a few smacks, 3 or 4 smacks, just to give it added security there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our brake pads and we're going to put them on. You'll notice they have these things to go into the guides. I like to start with the bottom one, work my way up to the top, push it in. Same thing with the back. Start with the bottom one and push it in. Get your brake pads on like that, and then you're going to take your caliper, which you've already compressed the pistons on, and you're going to stick it on like this. Sometimes these little rubber bushings are a booger, so you got to kind of fit them in there. And then you're going to take the rod here, you're going to stick it on, you're going to get it started. You're going to do it for both the top and the bottom. You're going to tighten it up. You're going to put the wheel on, and you're done. You got to get the other side. And now you got brakes and rotors. I mean, this is such an easy job. You know, a typical garage wants about $200 more than the parts to put these on. And look, it was 4 bolts. Well, 5 if you count the lugs. Pretty easy, guys. Later.